Let's talk about Pokemon on the Nintendo Switch. So that's what today's video is going to be about. I dug through the archives. I wanted to see how it all lines up, guys. When are we getting the announcement for the new Pokemon game? When can the new Pokemon game be coming out? What is going on with Nintendo Switch? And all that fun stuff right there. And it led me to a shocking reminder of this crazy part in my past. That remember, guys, if I move away right here, we can see January 8th, 2013. We had Pokemon X and Y, a new Pokemon game, revealed as early January, and it looks like we could be lining up with this. Like, if we get that Nintendo Direct announcement for sometime mid-January, there could be some kind of Pokemon announcement inside of it, because Nintendo Switch, this is like one of the biggest jumps we've ever seen from Pokemon, and now there's more and more news articles coming out saying that the Nintendo Switch has already, like, pretty much outsold the Wii U in less than a year. So that's what it's looking like. In a year, we're gonna have more Nintendo Switches sold than the Wii U in 5 years, because people are loving this console, they're loving the games on it, and now Pokemon fans get to love the new Pokemon game, and it's looking like it could be a new generation. So I want to do all kinds of stuff. I want to look at the timelines, I also want to look at the information we could potentially receive, and all the fun stuff like that. So let's go and see what we got for the original Pokemon X and Y trailer. Now, I remember this, and honestly, I feel like, wasn't there an announcement, like, wasn't this just like a little 15-second, 20-second trailer that was tweeted out like a week before this, like saying Pokemon Direct is coming? Might have been on January 1st. I don't remember the exact timelines or anything, this was years ago, but I remember that. And then it's like, oh, by the way, global announcement, global release for Pokemon. This was one of the most mind-blowing, crazy things we've ever seen for Pokemon so far. And honestly, when we compare it to some of the newer announcements for the newer games, this is the most we've gotten for a new Pokemon game announcement, and it was from generations ago. So we actually see the starter Pokemon, we get to see the battle scene, we get to see the character, the region, all that fun stuff going on, and that's kind of it. So this is a nice long trailer. I mean, look at that. We get the names, we get that, it just keeps on rolling, guys, and then we even get the legendaries, as well as, like, look at that. We get to see the forest, we get to see 3D Pikachu. Like, they went all out to make this announcement. So look at the amount of information we're receiving earlier than any other, like, new Pokemon game announcement that we've had before. So that's pretty crazy. We're even seeing, like, that Elite Four and stuff. And then Yveltal and Xerneas. Like, we even get the legendaries, guys. It took so long to get the legendaries for Pokemon Sun and Moon, but we had this right here. And I remember that. I remember that very, very well. I just didn't remember, like, the timelines and stuff. And also a lot of the build-up that, you know, before I did YouTube, I was just, like, hanging out with my friends, like, did you hear about the new Pokemon trailer? What? The one that happened, like, 3 days ago. Like, what? Actually, no, I think I was a little more in touch back then. Twitter blows up about it. But I wasn't on it, like, within minutes. I was on it, you know, hours, a day later or something like that. Because, you know, Pokemon news was cool, but it wasn't, like, a part of my job or anything like that. Now, another interesting thing is that with the entirety of the Pokemon Direct announcement, they also did it very similarly to what we had with Pokemon Sun and Moon. That they showed the games and how they worked. You know, we had Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, Ruby, Sapphire, Diamond, Pearl. You know, the build-up, like what we saw with the Pokemon Sun and Moon Pokemon Direct. Also, Rip Iwata, he introduced Pokemon X and Y, and now we had the CEO of Pokemon introduce it this time, but, you know, please enjoy one of those. And they did the build-up. So instead of just kind of doing it, kind of like talking about each Pokemon game, its significance to build up the history for Pokemon X and Y, we were just freaking blasted by one of the greatest Pokemon trailers ever. Like, this got tears in my eyes, guys. This made me feel passionate. Watching it again just makes me feel happy and wonderful, and it shows everything. It shows trading, collecting, catching, battling, all the different generations. Stuff like that. The social aspect, battle, you know, friendship, camaraderie, all this cool stuff that we don't see in Pokemon anymore, but it brought the community together for just a little bit of time, and that was awesome. And then they did the quick wind-up, you know, 2002, 2006, 2010, and 2013, and a new Pokemon adventure. So I love all that stuff. I mean, guys, this was all we had about Pokemon Sun and Moon for months. Screenshots, pick-a-peck that we didn't even know what anything was going on with, and that was it. So yeah, that was pretty big. And then I was going a little deeper into it, and we didn't get the first Pokemon reveal for Pokemon Sun and Moon until May 10th. We finally get, like, so okay, so this is May, and people were saying that we got too much information for Pokemon Sun and Moon, when May was when we actually started getting, like, Pokemon reveals and stuff like that. So Pokemon Sun and Moon, starter Pokemon revealed, but we already had the starters by January for Pokemon X and Y that moved to a new console. So I'm wondering if the move to a new console gives us more information, especially if it's a larger scale game. We're looking at Odyssey, Breath of the Wild scale in Pokemon on a new console for a new generation. Is it possible that we're getting the January announcement, the early February announcement, instead of the more delayed announcement like what we saw with Pokemon Sun and Moon? And then they pretty much did the same thing that they did for, you know, what they did with X and Y. A little bit of gameplay, some of the starter stuff, and then, hey, look at that. Just subscribe to our channel and just saying Pokemon. Look at that, look at that, look at that. 1:30 to 2 minutes. They put in 30 seconds of just that screen. Now, there was also more information on the website, Pokemon Sun Moon. The website started being really updated, had a lot of information. I was able to get like 2 videos per news announcement because you review the trailer and then you review the extra information that they put onto the website. So that was pretty cool right there. And then we started getting like the casual Pokemon that were announced. This was June 14th. This coincided with E3 because they did the live gameplay at E3. So what happened with Pokemon Sun and Moon is they did a lot of new things. You know, they were showing gameplay, they were showing this live stuff, they were trying to introduce people into a lot of information faster than what they did with Pokemon X and Y. Pokemon X and Y still had more information, which, going back on it, kind of blows my mind. And then we get to Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So, this doesn't really apply because new generations are announced much earlier, as we saw with Pokemon Ultra Moon. That was June. So we had to wait a very long time to get this information. But Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire still had a demo version. So even with the late release, we had a demo, and this is all the information that we initially got about Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And you know what it was? The only information we got was, this exists. An epic new adventure is coming. Omega Ruby. Alpha Sapphire. They just hang it there. Explore dramatic world. Launching worldwide November. That was our announcement for Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And the games ended up having, like, oh, I don't even know what I clicked on. But yeah, the games ended up having an insane amount of content. And that was kind of it. So, even if it's like Diamond Pearl Remix, I still feel like they're going to be doing a generation scale announcement for Nintendo Switch. But I really feel like Gen 8's coming, guys. And the announcement could be a lot sooner. And it might be buried inside the Nintendo Direct. Because how do you build up hype? Do the Nintendo Direct, you get people talking about, like, holy crap, you see the new Pokemon video in Nintendo Direct. That brings people to the Nintendo Direct. That promotes other Nintendo Switch products. And then we just wait for like a week later, 2 weeks later, we get the official Pokemon trailer or an official Pokemon acknowledgement that, yeah, we saw Nintendo Direct is right. We got that Switch game coming. So like I said this in another video. It's kind of like a tug of war. Who wants to take more control of this? Is this Game Freak's announcement because Game Freak's been doing all the Pokemon announcement, or is this Nintendo's announcement because Nintendo Switch? This is Nintendo's chance to like bring everyone back in as Nintendo gamers. This is like one of the most I think this is the most successful console launch that Nintendo's ever had. That I think in one of the other news articles is like Nintendo Switch, fastest selling console for Nintendo of all time. So because of that, they might want to change up their game and be like, all right, we're just going to take control for a bit just to make sure that everyone is hyped about it. It's not just Pokemon fans. You know, we don't want just Pokemon fans excited about 8th generation. We want every Nintendo fan. People that were like, I'm not a big fan of Breath of the Wild, or I'm not a big fan of Zelda getting into Breath of the Wild. I think I'm too old for Mario getting back into Mario Odyssey. I think this is the opportunity for the entirety of Nintendo to come back into Pokemon instead of now just being a community of Pokemon fans or something like that. So I went back even further. Zeraora, no, that's the Pokemon that hasn't been released yet, guys. Zeraora Zoroark. So this was another really interesting announcement because February 7th, 2010, so early February, there was precedent, even for 5th generation, 6th generation, 7th generation, we have this time frame from like January, very early January, into February, like late February. And honestly, I feel like people are going to get mad at me if I don't actually get the exact time, because I could have sworn there was like a slight little pre-announcement for the 6th generation one. Let me go find that. So yeah, it just looks like there was an announcement the day before, so January 7th instead of January 8th. But yeah, it was one of those things where it was, what the interesting thing about it is, it was a worldwide viewing. So this was something we were not used to, like, wait, what about a worldwide announcement? That's why I thought, like, Pikachu on the Eiffel Tower was there saying, I have an announcement to share with the world before the trailer was being released. Again, I don't remember it exactly, but that's one thing. And then I remember the Zoroark, man, Zero and Zoroark are going to ruin me for the rest of my life. The Zoroark reveal, because it was just like a silhouette that was on one of the Pokemon shows. So, on the Pokemon Sunday show that aired January 7, 2018, Junichi Masuda revealed a silhouette of a brand new Pokemon. And people were like, trying to fill it in, you know, Photoshop it, figuring out what's going on with those Pokemon and stuff. And then they also revealed Zeraora beside it. I don't, so it was 15th. Okay, so yeah, it took about a week for everyone to figure out what's going on. In the issue of Korokoro released May 15th, it was revealed that Zoroark can only be obtained in-game with the legendary beast from the movie. So yeah, we got some cool information stuff right there. That was just kind of showing, like, it doesn't have to be a Pokemon starter announcement. It doesn't have to be the games announced with it. And we can just kind of get, like, Game Freak's just working on stuff, guys. You know, trust Game Freak to be working on some cool Game Freak games and making us Pokemon and new Pokemon. And another thing about this is that, you know, there was a ton of new Pokemon introduced as well. That the 5th generation introduced over 100. It wasn't like 153 or something. It actually did more than the 1st generation. So it's a big rebranding, big ambitious project. And we were still getting lots of information about it. We have April 2010. This is when we actually got the announcement of the game. So yeah, April 9th. So yeah, we just get silhouettes of Pokemon February, then we have to wait a couple months, and then that's when we actually end up with the Pokemon. A couple hours ago, the official website updated with the first details of the 5th generation Pokemon games, and there was just the logos. Pokemon Black, Pokemon White. I also want to talk about Pokemon X and Y a bit, because we got into X and Y, and that's when we had Sylveon revealed the next month. So January, February, Sylveon, new evolutions, the community losing its mind, people like Dookie Shed speculate about the fairy typing, have his channel blow up in subscribers and stuff. It was a wild time to be a Pokemon fan, and this is like where I think Pokemon news on YouTube really started blowing up as well, because the outlets were a lot better. Now that we're having simultaneous releases, this means something to everyone. Like, cool, Zoroark's being revealed. We're still not going to see that Pokemon game for another year. A lot of the other ones as well. Like, okay, new Pokemon. And I think also the 5th generation was so large. It's like, do we need to care about this right now? There's like 100 Pokemon that are being revealed and stuff. I don't know what's going on. But because of all that, it's like, yeah, now this actually works out for everyone. Instead of people that have Japanese DSs or that are waiting for like the ROM hacks and stuff, this was pretty big for everyone. Then we got into March. March had the Mewtwo in the movie, which was pretty interesting. Mewtwo's got a secret. Boom, Mewtwo. This was actually a leak. We were getting leaks about the new Mewtwo form being called the Awakened form at that time, before we knew about Mega Evolutions and stuff. So that was also April of 2013. So I mean, if we get the news now in January, we're going to have enough to at least last us a little bit of time. And then if we get like massive news drops by April and stuff, we could still have a very information-filled release up until the new Pokemon game. So that could be pretty massive right there. We had Pokemon reveals by May. So it looks like May Pokemon reveals at the latest for a new generation in a lot of cases that aren't just like starters, just starting to give us all that information. And then January 2013, that was just talking about when the game was announced. So there we go, guys. That's like the information as to what we're dealing with right now. If we get that Nintendo Direct announcement, I still think it's a possibility that there could be Pokemon news in there. As for that, I'm also speculating that because Mario Odyssey had a really interesting launch time, I don't think it has to be holiday. It doesn't have to be an October, November release for the new Pokemon game. I'm thinking the Nintendo Switch Pokemon game could be August, which means all that news gets pushed up 2 months. We get January announcement, we get April Pokemon reveals, maybe even March. Late March. Late March Pokemon reveals. Also, Korokoro is something to keep an eye on, because Korokoro, back in the 5th and 6th generation, they were breaking the news first. 7th generation, late 6th generation, Pokemon companies started taking over, and it was a very interesting trend shift, and we saw this Pokemon Sun and Moon. Korokoro has almost nothing to reveal in Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon by comparison, but maybe the tide could shift back. I don't know. These reveals are getting pretty crazy, and that's kind of what we're dealing with. So guys, enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching. I'm hyped. Like, there's also so much other stuff that happened. We get Mario Maker for Nintendo Switch. We get Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Switch. New Pokemon game for Nintendo Switch. Like, this console is here to stay, and it's here to impress. And even if we get like a port of Super Smash Bros. 4, if we get anything, you know, that Mario Maker spring release, that's going to hold us over till Pokemon game. Summer release for the new Smash game. Holiday release for the new Smash game. There's going to be games, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm excited. Hope you are too.